Bonus cash through May 31st. Toyota, let's go places.
Tonight, breaking news. ABC News has learned that President Trump's personal lawyer is now a focus of the Russia investigation. Tonight, he's refusing requests from Congress to answer questions. And the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and reports he wanted to set up a back channel with the Russians. Tonight, the White House is asked, did the president know? Did he approve? Also breaking tonight, for the first time, the U.S. military intercepts a mock intercontinental ballistic missile. A test just a short time ago, the images coming in now. Tiger Woods' DUI arrest, police finding him passed out behind the wheel. Tonight, his explanation. And authorities now say there is dash cam video. The outburst late today in court. The suspect accused of killing 2 men on a train, wounding a third. They jumped in to protect women after his alleged anti-Muslim rant. And we have breaking news tonight involving Olivia Newton-John and her health.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to be back with you after the Memorial Day holiday. And we begin tonight with growing scrutiny involving President Trump's inner circle. Tonight, ABC News has learned the investigation has now reached the president's personal attorney. First, we reported here the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is under scrutiny by the FBI. Why did he meet with the Russian ambassador, and why did he meet with the Russian bank? And our own Brian Ross breaking the news today that the president's personal lawyer is now under investigation. He is refusing to cooperate with Congress, and tonight you'll hear why. ABC's chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross leading us off.
As the questions grow tonight about the activities and the future role of the presidential son-in-law, Jared Kushner.
Mr. Michael Cohen.
Another close confidant of Donald Trump, his personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, a man who knows many of his deepest secrets, has become a focus of the expanding congressional investigation. Cohen told ABC News he has been asked to provide information and testimony about any connections to the Russian government, but is refusing to do so. I declined the invitation, he told us in a statement, as the request was poorly phrased, overly broad, and not capable of being answered. Trump came to Cohen's defense earlier this year when the dossier prepared by Democratic operatives alleged, without any proof, that Cohen secretly met with Russian spies in Prague.
It's a disgrace, and I think they ought to apologize to start with, Michael Cohen.
But now Cohen's refusal to cooperate sets up a potential showdown with Congress.
I would say to Mr. Cohen that we will issue a subpoena and he will be compelled to come and speak.
We also learned today that the expanded congressional investigation is seeking to question former Trump White House and campaign aide Boris Epshteyn.
We love Trump. We love Trump.
His lawyer told ABC News tonight he did not anticipate that Epshteyn would have to be subpoenaed to provide information or testimony. Of more concern to the White House today was the growing interest in the president's son-in-law, Kushner, and his dealings with the Russians. Investigators want to know why Kushner met secretly in December with officials of the New York branch of a Russian bank that was previously known as a U.S. base for Kremlin spies. One of its New York officers, Evgeny Buryakov, was found to be a Russian spy. His name can still be found on the bank website today.
This was an actual trained operative spy operation in New York targeting human assets.
And now investigators are asking if Kushner's meeting at the bank is connected to his efforts to set up a secret back channel with the Kremlin and the Trump transition team.
The risk is that somebody who has that sort of communication channel with the Russians becomes a tool of the Russians and unwittingly does their bidding.
And Brian Ross with us here tonight, and sources telling ABC News, Brian, that one of the reasons for creating this back channel was to talk about Syria policy with the Russians. Why then would he turn to a Russian bank to talk about Syria?
Well, that's exactly what members of Congress want to know, and they'll hear his answer later this year when he testifies before them, something he says he wants to do.
Says he's willing to testify.
Right.
All right, Brian, while we have you, there's another headline breaking at this hour. The AP is now reporting involving Michael Flynn, the former national security advisor, saying that he will provide some evidence to Congress. What do we know?
Yes, that's what's being reported tonight, but some evidence is still far from the full cooperation that Congress wants.
But movement on that front.
Yes.
Brian Ross leading us off tonight. Brian, thank you. Today, the White House, as you know, was pressed about the president's son-in-law and senior advisor Jared Kushner and any effort to set up that back channel with the Russians. The questions, did the president know about this, and did he approve of it? Here's ABC's chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl.
Under fire for allegedly trying to set up a back channel for communications with the Russians, Jared Kushner didn't get much help today from White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer.
I'm wondering, Sean, if you can tell us when the president knew, whether the president knew at the time that Jared Kushner was seeking to establish back channel communications at the Russian embassy to the Russian government. And if he didn't know at the time, when did he find out?
I think that assumes a lot, and I would just say that Mr. Kushner's attorney has said that Mr. Kushner has volunteered to share with Congress what he knows about these meetings, and he will do the same if he's contacted or connected with any other inquiry.
Spicer didn't deny that Kushner had tried to set up a back channel through the Russian ambassador. In fact, he pointed out that National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster and Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly both said that there is nothing inherently wrong with back channels to foreign governments.
You're asking if he approves of an action that is not a confirmed action. That being said, I think Secretary Kelly and General McMaster have both discussed that in general terms, back channels are an appropriate part of diplomacy.
But there's bipartisan concern on Capitol Hill.
My view of it is I don't like it. I just don't. I know that some administration officials are saying, well, that's standard procedure. I don't think it's standard procedure.
And the White House is dealing with some unintended fallout from the president's trip abroad, a fraying relationship with longtime U.S. ally, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who, after meeting with Trump, said Germany may not be able to completely count on others anymore.
I think the relationship that the president has had with Merkel, he would describe as fairly unbelievable. They get along very well.
So let's get to Jonathan Karl live at the White House tonight. And John, some of your sources telling you that some people close to the president are now saying it might be time for Jared Kushner to take a leave of absence.
Well, I am hearing from some people quite close to the president saying that at the very least, Jared Kushner should scale back his duties here at the White House, if not completely take a leave of absence. But, David, there is no indication right now that the president himself believes that. In fact, the president issued a statement over the weekend saying, Jared is doing a great job for the country. I have total confidence in him. He is respected by virtually everyone. David?
John Karl with us tonight. John, thank you. And we also have breaking developments at this hour involving the U.S. military. For the first time, the U.S. military has intercepted a mock intercontinental ballistic missile. It was a test just a short time ago. The images coming in now. And this test coming as North Korea appears to be closer to its goal of building a missile that could reach U.S. territory. Here's ABC's chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz.
It was the first live-fire intercept test of an intercontinental ballistic missile in history, a critical test at a critical time. The mock warhead, like this one used in a shorter-range test in 2014, fired from an island in the Pacific, more than 4,000 miles away at an airbase in California. The Interceptor, or kill vehicle, launched from an underground silo. A little over an hour later, the Pentagon confirming the test was a success. It has been called the ultimate precision guidance challenge, hitting a speeding bullet with another speeding bullet, making this test all the more remarkable.
4 miles per second as it goes towards the United States. So this is a very difficult calculation where you have to look at its arc and you have to figure out where the intercept is going to occur somewhere deep in outer space.
The missile intercept test was carried out after North Korea successfully launched its 9th missile this year, a short-range ballistic missile with Kim Jong-un watching, state-run media claiming it was more precise than ever.
All right, Martha Raddatz standing by with us tonight as well. And Martha, the U.S., of course, hoping this successful intercept will now send a powerful message to Kim Jong-un.
And it will, David, but despite this great success, there's no guarantee this would work in real-world circumstances. So as long as Kim keeps testing his missiles and nuclear weapons, North Korea will remain a very big threat, David.
All right, Martha Raddatz on the late developments. Martha, thank you. Next tonight here, new reporting on the DUI arrest of Tiger Woods. The police affidavit revealing tonight that they found him asleep at the wheel with his car running, his tires blown, and Tiger Woods was unaware of where he was. ABC's Gio Benitez with new details in Palm Beach County, Florida.
Tonight, after Tiger Woods' 3 a.m. Memorial Day arrest and that mugshot seen around the world, new details. In police documents, authorities in Jupiter say they found his Mercedes running with brake lights and a blinker on, stopped in the roadway with 2 flat tires and damaged bumpers. Woods asleep at the wheel and had to be woken up. That his speech was extremely slow and confused. He did not know where he was. Woods had back surgery in April, and he told police he takes multiple prescription drugs, including Vicodin. And when agreeing to a breathalyzer, he blew triple zeros, no alcohol in his system. Overnight, Woods releasing a statement saying, "I didn't realize the mix of medications had affected me so strongly," apologizing to fans and family.
This is a guy who was on top of the world, and here he has so many years of setbacks.
He wasn't just a great golfer for all those years, he was invincible.
He's won them all.
This is a guy who actually intimidated other golfers in a non-contact sport, and yet he's suffered embarrassment, he's suffered humiliation.
Now golf legend Jack Nicklaus is pulling for him.
I feel bad for Tiger. Tiger's a friend. He's been great for the game of golf, and I think he needs all our help, and we wish him well.
And David, tonight police tell us they have dash cam video of that arrest. They expect to release that tomorrow. David.
Gio Benitez from Florida. Gio, thanks. Next this evening to the outburst in court late today from the suspect in the deadly stabbing of 2 Good Samaritans who were coming to the aid of 2 women on a train in Portland, Oregon. The suspect allegedly on an anti-Muslim rant. Tonight, ABC's Clayton Sandell on what happened in court.
Death to the enemies of America. Leave this country if you hate our freedom.
Tonight, the man accused of the horrific rampage on a Portland train, 35-year-old Jeremy Christian, made a belligerent first appearance in court.
You call it terrorism, I call it patriotism. You hear me?
Also there, facing his alleged attacker, 21-year-old Micah Fletcher, stabbed in the neck.
I feel very lucky. I wish I wasn't the only lucky one right now.
Fletcher is one of 3 Good Samaritans who stood up to Christian for allegedly hurling anti-Muslim insults at Destiny Mangum and her friend who was wearing a hijab.
He told us to go back to Saudi Arabia.
In the confrontation, police say Christian stabbed and killed 23-year-old Talishan Namkai Meshe and 53-year-old Army veteran Ricky Best.
2 men who worked very hard to build lives, to create connections, to have love, lost their lives. And there's nothing more special than that.
Just 1 day before Friday's alleged attack, police say Christian was captured ranting on the same train.
You got a problem with what I'm saying? All you Christians and Muslims and Jews.
His extremist views also on display at this April rally where he appeared to give a Nazi salute. And tonight, the FBI is investigating whether Christian should also face federal hate crime charges. David?
Clayton Sandell tonight. Clayton, thank you. Next to the severe weather at this hour, powerful storms across parts of the southeast, 14 people injured in Sampson County, North Carolina. About a dozen homes destroyed. This after an EF1 tornado struck there last week as well. Severe storms tonight from the northeast all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. This funnel cloud in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Let's get to meteorologist Rob Marciano tracking it all for us tonight. Hey, Rob.
Hi, David. Really, the eastern half of the country, a broad area of unsettled weather with pockets of strong instability. Look at the radar. You see it all swirling around. Still strong areas in New Orleans, across Arkansas, Georgia, Tennessee, and Virginia. And we've got a severe thunderstorm watch that's still in effect for much of central New York. That line bringing some hail and some damaging winds potentially. Front coming through tonight. A brief warm-up tomorrow, but another front coming through. And we could see another thunderstorm or 2 in the northeast tomorrow night. There was a jogger that ran by here earlier. He said, please bring some sun. We're working on it, David. We're working on it.
Let's hope. Unofficial start of summer is here. Rob, thank you. We continue with other news this evening in the investigation into the death of a Navy SEAL here in New York City. New images of 27-year-old Remington Peters from Colorado, a combat veteran killed during an air show stunt, his parachute failing to open. Here's ABC's Lindsay Davis.
Something's not right. Tonight, new video of the moment the crowd realized something had gone terribly wrong. Listen.
That one didn't open all the way back there.
That's 27-year-old Navy SEAL Remington Peters' parachute.
Priority 1 fall, parachute down.
The chute did not open. His chute fails to deploy, sending him plunging into the Hudson River. The U.S. Coast Guard pulled him out, but he did not survive. One witness captured this haunting image of his empty parachute floating to the ground, landing in a parking lot. Peters was an elite Navy skydiver, 2 combat deployments, more than 900 jumps. He was performing with Navy parachute team the Leapfrogs during a Fleet Week demonstration. His family released a statement describing Peters' fierce loyalty to his friends, family, and his country. He lived life to the fullest, they say. And then there's this photo, taken just one day before his death, helping a young fan to try on a parachute. The investigation into just what caused Peters' parachute to fail is ongoing tonight. David?
Lindsay, thank you. Next here tonight to the death of a notorious Central American dictator, Manuel Noriega. He ruled Panama in the 1980s, at times working with the CIA, at others with the drug cartels, until he was ousted in a U.S. military operation in 1989, spending the rest of his life in prison. He was 83. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Tuesday. Breaking news involving Olivia Newton-John and her health tonight. The famous actress revealing a personal battle, her cancer returning 25 years after she was first diagnosed. More in a moment. New developments in the deadly police shooting of Tamir Rice. News tonight about 2 officers involved. And you saw that water park scare, the 10-year-old boy flying off that giant water slide. A miracle he walked away. Government inspectors on what they now believe. We're back in a moment.
We asked a group of young people when they thought